And we're not live, guys, but we are recording. Top of the morning to you. Chris, welcome to quarter 4 of 2025. The fall is finally beginning to be upon us. And even here in Yuma, we went from the low 100s to the low 90s now. So we're officially in
Beautiful
fall.
fall.
People are
Beautiful
starting
fall.
to put on their sweaters already here.
At
It's that
90?
low 90s. It gets to like 70s at night.
What do they got? What do they got? Water for blood?
Arizonans are built different, man. Next month it starts getting 70s and then 60s, and we'll be good.
We're already
But
in
it
that
is,
here in California.
yeah. Well, we're not too far behind. We'll get there. But quarter 4, everyone was afraid about this year, right? I remember when we started this year, people made predictions. A lot of people freaked out. Oh, Trump's gonna do this. Maha's gonna do this. And maybe we didn't see the same amount of activity as last year. But I think there was a lot of more fear mongering than actually was necessitated, in my opinion, as is usually the case with fear
What?
mongering.
That your opinion's correct, or there's too much fear mongering?
I think people get too caught up in headlines without looking at the fundamentals. And yet Trump came in to like completely change the fundamentals. But that most favored nation thing, I mean, the farmers are buying into it. Like they're building plants in the U.S. now. Pfizer the other day agreed to lower their prices in the U.S. So it's not really impacting our industry. I mean, we're seeing revenue-wise, it was not a record year for our startup. We're a 4-year startup. So we were supposed to continue linearly and progress, like have a better revenue this year than last year. We didn't. We're probably going to finish around 3/4 of what we were last year when realistically looking at it. So we're like down 25%. But the number of studies we got this year is a record high for my site. And so it's just we can't monetize those necessarily as easily or yet. There's like some are in between screening, some are harder. But volume wise, like studies, they're there. The work is out there.
So my take's a little different. I think it did slow down for a bit until maybe 3 months ago. I think things are picking back up to normal now because the industry wanted to just see exactly how Maha was going to play out. Would you say the studies, most of the studies awarded this year have been in the last 3 months?
No, we've had like
No?
consistently. Our
Yeah.
site, we've had consistently every quarter about the same amount of studies.
Study
We have
award.
seen it getting increased though the second half,
Okay.
but not by much. Like we've been getting like 4 or 5 studies, at least 4 or 5 studies a quarter, maybe. And so,
Well,
yeah, I mean, I think it's been consistent.
so my evidence is anecdotal, but
No, mine definitely, and yours less so than mine because you negotiate budgets for like 85 sites or something.
yes, but all of the established sites didn't seem to slow down, right? The well-established sites that have been getting 20 studies a year for many years that are with us. But the newer sites or less established sites definitely seem to slow
Okay.
down
Okay.
to me.
I think I have an explanation for that anecdotally. So, the studies we have been getting this year have all been big pharma, save for, well, even save for one that got acquired by a big pharma. So, it's basically a big pharma. And they knew that before they picked our site. So, if I have to go back and think, yeah, they've all been big pharma, none biotechs. And so I think that the big pharma have their trusted sites and they're not looking in an elevated risk environment, which kind of it is. They're not looking to take further risks by gambling on an unproven site. That's my opinion of what's happening. Because now
Okay.
that we're actually talking it through, that looking back, they've all been big pharma sponsors at my site so far. Whereas in like the frothier years, you get a good mix of like some biotechs you never heard of.
Mhm.
And those are coming back too, though. There have been some
No, I
CBAs
agree.
lately.
That's what I'm saying. I think things are
Yeah.
picking back up.
But anecdotally, from your contracts, would that match with what I just said? Big pharma?
I mean, yes, but there's still a few smaller, like the one with the cardiologist there in Yuma. They're very small.
That's the one that got bought by a big pharma, though. Oh,
They
you mean
did.
the other one, the other cardiology? We have a few.
Okay. Well, I
There's
don't
one
know.
with the academic medical center that's like kind of doesn't know how to run a study as a sponsor, which is a Doge fallout, I think.
Yeah.
Not, that one's unique, but even that one, the IP is owned by a big pharma.
Okay. Well, there's a study with a cardiologist in Yuma that the budget's kind of bad, and you were debating on whether to take the study or
Yeah,
not.
that's the one. Even that has a big pharma IP.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and they're being difficult with invoices, if I
Yeah.
recall correctly.
But that's, in fairness to them, they're not used to being a sponsor or a
Yeah.
project manager, so I understand.
So, okay, well, I guess that still falls in line with what you're thinking. So,
Yeah.
But there's been a few small sponsor awards that I've seen, but not as many as
Percentage-wise, though,
I'm used
compared to
to.
like a frothy year, it'd be a higher
Yeah, not as
percentage.
many as I'm used to. No.
Yeah, yeah. And I think we will start seeing more of that
Yeah,
Q4 of this year and Q1 of next year.
there's been less of an atmosphere to gamble, which with what's the approval rate of a new drug? It's very low. So you're kind of gambling.
And it's getting lower for some, but higher for others. If you guys read between the lines of this new administration, there's two books you guys need to read. I'm going to be doing book reviews on both of them. One is Malignant by Vinay Prasad. He's the head of CBER right now, which is all the biologics and cancer. And then Marty Makary, who's the head of the FDA, he wrote a book called Blind Spots. If you guys read, I think everyone in our industry needs to read those books, especially if you're a site owner, to understand, try to predict the future. We're not sponsors. You and I are not sponsors. We're site owners. But we have to predict the future in a way in order to know whether we should invest in staff up front. This whole time at YCT, we've been investing in staff up front, save for my first year where it's just me and Jaime. But otherwise, we always have more staff than we actually need to anticipate future growth. And in order to keep doing that, you have to have conviction that the new administration is not going to kill the industry, which I think in the first half of the year, sponsors were worried about. And I think now they're starting to see, no, they're actually fairly reasonable if you follow their rules. And their rules are many, like nuanced, kind of non-official rules. But if you read those books, you read between the lines, you can see the rules in their head.
I'm going to disagree with your framing. I don't think they were worried about, you said, what was the terms you just used? Killing the industry.
Yeah. Rocking the boat.
I don't think that framing is correct. I just think there was uncertainty, and in any market, until you have certainty, you don't wish to usually invest. Right. The market loves certainty, not uncertainty. The markets do horrible in uncertainty. Any market.
Investors can do well in uncertainty, though.
No, of course, especially the more experienced ones. But those, which 80% of investors are kind of dumb, and I might be in that category. In terms of, I just buy simple things typically. But the point is,
you have the Darshan mentality of
the point is if the market is just bouncing all over the place and some days it's taking 20% hits, I'm not investing more dollars. So once I have a certainty that the market looks good, I'll get in. I'll invest.
And that's exactly what the biotech and big pharma were doing.
Yep.
There was and that would explain why they're going for the trusted sites. Like, we're not that established. We've been around 4 years. This is going to be our 5th year soon. But it's established enough to where it's all been the same sponsors. Like, Here's this big one that is giving us our third study. Here's this other big one giving us our fourth. We've had that a lot from like 5 or 6 of these pharma. And it's been nice because as a site, you do want predictability as well. Like you want to be able to line up your study activations smoothly, right? So like you're not overburdening your staff, but you're also not like in a drought where you don't have patients to screen for anything. So you want that stability as well. And you almost want to say yes to more studies these days, which is why when I was on the fence about that one study, I said, yeah, because you never know what's going to happen, 3 months
Sure.
from now.
Well,
And
you
I'm
just
glad
don't.
we have it. We might screen our first patient tomorrow. Lana just texted me.
Sure, it just makes sense from an HR standpoint. You don't want to be constantly having to let people go and rehire.
Yeah. Or giving the
So
owners their dividends. It's important for all of us now that we get dividends. Now, all of our partners are fairly cool. If we have to miss a quarter, it's not the end of the world. But some sites can't do that. Like some sites are check to check. And if, like this is why a lot of them pop up and then shut down like within a year.
Absolutely.
I think that year is the hardest thing to get through as a site
First
owner.
2. I think it's just like the statistics. Most businesses fail in the first 2 years.
Yeah, and there's probably a lot of transferable issues that kind of go from both of those things.
Yeah. Number one cause is running out of funding.
Number one cause is, running out of funding, which is a symptom of taking things for granted and assuming things are going to be easier than they are.
Or
and
just
faster than they are.
or just spending resources carelessly. Like for our client services, our very, very first client, I believe,
Yeah.
hired 5 coordinators or some ridiculous thing without a study. Do you recall this?
Our first client ever?
Yeah. I don't want
No.
to put their name out there, but
My mind can go.
They were from California. We talked to them a few times.
They were
Moving to
rich, though.
Florida. Yeah, but they hired like 5 coordinators, 3 to 5. I could be wrong. It was at least 3, and we told them, do not do this.
With no studies
You
or
have no
nothing.
study. You're paying for nothing.
And it's not like the coordinators they hired were good at biz dev. Like they were not going to be doing any business
Correct.
development.
Correct.
So, yeah.
And they wound up letting them all go.
But that site still ended up doing well, right?
Oh, yeah. Very successful. They wound up doing multi-million-dollar years.
But they dodged a bullet.
Well,
Because
no,
they almost went out of business.
Yeah, it took them a while to get started, as predicted.
Yeah.
And who needs to be making payroll for a year when there's no revenue?
Yeah.
Because they moved to Miami.
Yeah, that sounds like a horrible business plan.
it turned out well for them. Again,
Yeah.
well, they
Some of the
$5 million
look,
revenue.
The industry likes to shit on Florida a lot. Some of the best sites are in Florida, and also some of the worst. So also some of the worst. Some of the best are there.
Yeah, no doubt.
And they can do very well,
or very poorly,
or very poorly.
There's plenty of competition.
Well, one of the comments, I didn't expect it to take this long to get into the topic, but it was a good topic incoming. Can you talk more about regulatory loose ends at the site? I know exactly what they mean because
not
when
updating delegation of duties, kind of a loose end, like
all that little stuff. So here's what they really mean. When you're in growth mode, like we are, we'll continue to be in growth mode until we stop trying to expand and we're just like happy with what we have and just milk it, right? Then that's just stability mode. I think during stability mode, it's a lot easier to get your regulatory ends in order. During growth mode, you have too much work and not enough staff. Even if you're overhiring, you don't have them all trained on the things that everybody needs to do, right? Like you having Alana do recruitment, and then she's doing patient ACE, and then she's doing an audit, and then she's doing a regulatory, and then she's doing a site selection. Like you're supposed to have a system for that. Like we're supposed to have a regulatory person, a budget. Thank God we have you for that. Budgets, recruitment. Like we'll eventually get there when we're more stable.
Mhm.
Right now we're in high growth mode. So the risk of high growth mode or the side effect of it is sometimes the work can be sloppy when it's considered non-essential. And I know like the textbook answer is, well, everything's essential. You shouldn't, pay attention to Alcoa and file all your ISF. That's the textbook like bullshit, right? The reality is when the ownership's telling the coordinator just screen, go crazy, we need to make payroll, or the owners need to get paid. Like you're essentially giving the green light to your staff to cut corners in other places, not to do fraud, but like, if there's some action items that don't directly impact revenue, I've basically been told to do this instead. And so you have enough of that happening to where monitors get pissed. You may be put on a screening hold. Auditors will come through. It's best case scenario is it just slowed you down a bit. Worst case is you don't work with that sponsor again. And worst case, if it's FDA, is your PI is banned from research. So
Well,
there's a balance, I think, is what the question's asking. Like, yes, obviously we need to screen and randomize and get more studies, but there's also all this like defensive stuff we have to do because it's the nature of our industry. Like we have to be careful about our regulatory temp logs. Was there a deviation? Sometimes you're going so fast and these temp sticks are just 24/7 recording. You don't realize you had 3 excursions until like a week later, and then you're like, oops, like that's a protocol deviation. That's 3 deviations right there. I gotta do a kappa plan.
especially when
You
you've
know,
assigned the drug from those
yeah,
deviations, from those
yeah.
excursions.
I mean,
Well,
this may or not be a real story, from my side right now, but
so well, there's a reason the FDA says regulatory needs to be always audit ready,
yeah, yeah,
right? For this reason.
for this exact reason. And the monitors do a good job of finding it early, and it wasn't a big deal. They just wanted us to do a kappa plan. But I shared my example because there's thousands of similar in the industry right now that have to deal with growth, but balancing growth with proper defensive measures like a QA person. And I really think the only way to do that is to have streamline, like have a QA department, have a regulatory department, even if that's just one person. Have a recruitment or admin, like, and then the coordinators. Because all this generalist shit, like it's good for a startup, but once you reach critical mass, it works against you because then you have to stop to do kappa, and then, well, why aren't you screening? Oh, well, they have me doing all this shit.
So this goes against your philosophy. So be a generalist until you need a specialist.
Well, the philosophy is like what's ideal for an employee. It is to be a generalist. Now, what's ideal for a site owner is you do want to have generalists, but there comes a point where you reach critical mass to where it's like works against you, and then you need to start streamlining.
Then
There's
you
like
need
an inflection
specialists.
point.
Sure.
Yeah,
No, I get
there's
it.
an
When
inflection point.
you don't need specialists to handle 14 different things when you're starting out, and you
Right,
barely need one employee.
right,
You
right,
don't want 14 employees. You want one employee that can do everything.
right,
But
right.
once you are generating enough revenue
Yes,
and want to generate more revenue, it's time to
yes,
start taking on specialists.
yes. And you'll lose a little bit of, but you'll gain efficiency, which you can then make up for in more volume.
Now, just because
We're right at that inflection point right now at our
just
site.
because I've heard you preach this so much, be a
Yeah,
generalist. So I just out of curiosity and for your audience, because
that's to the workers. That's to the
I'm sure
workers.
some people are thinking this. Okay,
Yeah,
as a worker
yeah,
and as an employer yourself,
yeah,
would you hire, say you needed a specialist? Oh no, no,
yeah.
no, no. Say you're starting up a new site, right? which
Yeah.
we may be soon.
Soon. Yeah.
And this person comes to interview who's been in research, but as a specialist. They only know regulatory,
Yeah.
right? Would you hire them as a generalist?
No. But if
You
it's
wouldn't?
no. If I'm starting a site over, no. I'm going the generalist route again. I need somebody that's multifaceted, like
No,
outgoing, but also attention to detail and also like willing. But if that's an extension site, like if we have YCT and we're expanding, let's say to Flagstaff, right?
mm-hmm.
And that person interviews into Flagstaff, I would tell them, why don't we start you as a regulatory person for all of our sites? But you're going to come here every day and we're going to hire a generalist here and you're going to learn also the coordinating. And then in 6 months or a year, you can choose if you want to keep doing regulatory or you want to be a coordinator.
See, I completely disagree with this. And I'll tell you why. So,
Yeah.
in the real world, I think you do hire that person as a generalist because they're aware of research, at least to a certain degree. They understand
What if their
regulatory.
personality is not good for patients and
Well,
like
sure.
you have
Then
people like that?
yeah, sure. That's a little different. But at least they have some knowledge in the industry because oftentimes when you're starting a new site, you're hiring like completely from scratch. They know nothing about research.
Yeah.
So in the real world, I think you still probably hire that person so long as they're a good fit
Yeah, you do hire them. Well, we both agree we
for
hire
a
that person.
generalist, for a
Yeah.
generalist for that
We
site.
both agreed that we hire that person. It's just what we do with them is different.
Sure.
But this is assuming that the site that's new is part of a network that I'm still in charge of.
No, I'm just talking new one site.
Brand new.
You're new to research. At least this person has an understanding of research. They have
Yeah, well
to.
then for me it would be maybe on how they interview and
Sure.
are
Are
they
they good?
willing to
Do
do.
they have a good personality? Right.
Yeah. Because like
Do they have a
their
good
skill
bedside
set,
manner?
honestly, their skill sets are very useful when you get to like 10 studies a year, 15 studies a year. Their
Mhm.
skill set's not that useful with 1 or 2 studies.
No,
It
no.
actually might be a hindrance. You don't
So
want
you're
someone there stopping your screenings because they're like, no, you have to do this. No,
no,
we
no.
got to
That's I
screen.
understand. You're making the assumption that they don't have the right personality because they've been assigned
Correct.
to regulatory.
Correct. I'm thinking the worst. Like, why are they regulatory only? And
Right.
they must be like an introvert nerd who
Right.
doesn't like to deviate from.
Yes, that's exactly what I knew you were picturing.
Yeah.
Which doesn't necessarily. I mean, it could be true, but that's not
Correct.
necessarily true.
Correct. I'm just going with like the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
But if that was an add-on extension site, like from a network, it's a no-brainer because you still getting your money if they just do your regulatory
Sure.
for all the sites. Yeah.
Mhm. Which you can do remotely now with eReg.
Correct. With all the stuff all the tools we're using.
You could even do it with paper, but it's just more of a hassle.
There's still a site. Our old coordinator, Grecia, she went to work for one of our clients in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, yeah, they're old school. That's only paper everything.
Yeah, many sites are still
And
like
I
that.
asked her, I said, be honest, what do you like? Which site do you like more? And she said, I like elements of both. I like the fact that we were all electronic with you, but I like over here that like it's more streamlined. Like there is a regulatory person, there is a recruiter, so the coordinators don't have to do that stuff, which is kind of like where I'm headed towards, anyways. With by year 5.
Mm-hmm. Well, I literally just yesterday, because a new one of our clients just started using eSource, and with the sponsor, I was trying to get them to help pay for the eSource, and they said, no, we will not pay for eSource. This is a site decision. This is not a requirement by us.
But you put stuff in our budgets where we can get like a fee for it.
Yeah, what I'm telling you, though, is not all sponsors will do this.
Yeah.
Because it is not a requirement of theirs. They're fine with you using paper. So
was that a big sponsor or a small?
Yes, a big sponsor. They're one of the
Wow.
cheaper big sponsors.
Well, we don't like them. You want to put them on blast?
No.
Okay. Like a letter, maybe?
There's 3 big sponsors that I'm aware of that refuse to pay for.
Those ones start with a M. I hate them.
You hate the M's?
No, I hate one in particular.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
No, these 3 sponsors are, 2 of them are, I think, in the top 20 companies in the world in terms of revenue. I think top 25 maybe, and they won't pay for
Well,
research.
was the budget good, or other than
No,
that, or was
they're
it suck?
they're average budget.
Then it depends. As a site owner, I might pull a Judy on that one. Um, Shout out to Judy Galindo. I
And
might
just say,
actually
if you
turn
don't
that
pay
one
it,
down.
I'm not taking it.
Unless I know we can go high volume, but usually those big sponsors that are like that are usually very difficult to work with, even from an operations standpoint. Like their monitors are very,
Picky,
yeah,
very anal.
yes.
Not real helpful. Just very anal. Do this, do that.
Well, they want things done their way, and I get it. They're trying to control like the possibility of an audit,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it depends who it is. There's a few that like that we are working with, but they actually have good budgets. For the good budgets, you can forgive it. For the bad budgets, no. You went blurry for a second, and then now you're in the Mars rover,
Yeah, I don't know why this camera, the one
and now
that's a
you're back to
plug-in
the
camera,
Bronx.
you know. Here, I'll write in the chat so you can see. I'll name the 3.
All right, and then I'll post it on the screen.
No, you won't.
Okay. We'll work with them.
Yeah, they won't pay for that.
Really?
Yep.
I have not worked with them, but I wanted to. And we currently are working with them. The last one acquired one of the small biotechs that we are working on.
Yeah, I think the last 2 are in the top 25 companies in the world.
All 3, I think.
All 3 are?
Yeah. And they're all foreign. They're all like foreign headquarters.
Yep.
All of them are European. Well, we're giving away too much shit, guys. Guru Nation, back to the script, man. Stick to the script. Any more regulatory loose ends? Like temperature excursions is one. Training logs. Kappa, or not Kappa, SOP. So following your SOP is kind of a big thing. Like, I know we give people an outline of it if they join our services, but we tell everyone you have to modify this for your site. We modify our own stuff like every 3 months because we change something and then we modify it. So it makes no sense to have a SOP if you're not following it. I think that's a big under discussed topic, especially for newer sites. Like they put all this ambitious stuff in their SOP and they don't actually do any of that. Like, what's the point of being that ambitious? First of all, you don't have to, like, you're not impressing anyone with that. You're being held, you're literally setting the bar high for yourself. Like, there's an art of doing the SOPs, and initially you have to guess, and then when you actually start screening and start randomizing, you start seeing, well, that's not realistic. Let's change it this way. Same thing with Kappa plan. If you're going to do a Kappa plan, a corrective action, preventative action, you got to make sure you actually can implement those preventative actions. Because if you're just writing something so the sponsor's impressed and then you don't actually do it and a year later they audit you again, well, this Kappa plan is bullshit because you didn't actually do any of this stuff you said. So that's more like regulatory loose ends. I don't know. What's another regulatory loose end? Training logs.
Did you mention delegation of duties? That's super common.
No, I haven't mentioned that at all.
So that's super common, in which there's a sub-investigator, and not all sponsors care about this, but a sub-investigator is on the delegation of duties, and they've done not one thing in the study, and they've been on there for a year and a half. Studies running a year and a half. They want them removed. Or vice versa, you have somebody doing something, and this is a much bigger problem. They've done something, and they're not on the delegation of duty.
I just got good news from Katie. We got selected for a new study. A new study.
Nice.
And this one is a $59 billion market cap. So it'd be considered a medium-sized pharma. They're that big to where that one's 59. Yeah, this would be a medium-sized. So not quite a biotech, but biotechs are more like 100 million to maybe 10 billion. I would consider like a small cap biotech. And then 10 billion to 100 billion would be like a mid-sized pharma, and then 100 billion plus is all the big pharma. So if you look at Novartis, they are 273 billion. If you look at Lilly, 771 billion. If you look at Pfizer, 153 billion. AstraZeneca, 256. Novo Nordisk, 193. Merck, 221. AbbVie, 420. I think my kind of back of the napkin definition applies. So this is like a medium-sized pharma. So maybe anecdotally, probing the temperature, this was good news I got from Katie today. Record year, Chris, for studies we got. I think we doubled the amount of studies we were awarded this year. But
Well, hopefully that creates double the revenue.
well, so far it hasn't.
That's why I'm
I'm
saying
gonna
hopefully.
do a podcast on that. I'm gonna give it till the end of the year. I think we will be at 75% of our gross revenue from last year, but in a much better position
Moving
going into
forward.
the new year.
Yeah.
God willing. So that sums up the year right there, and it's only Q4 just started. So I'll definitely do, for those following me documenting Yuma clinical trials journey on YouTube, there's an entire playlist on this. You can see the good, the bad, the ugly. We got an audit next week. It's a remote audit though.
Remote sponsor audit.
Yeah, remote sponsor audit. Shout out
Yeah.
to Lana.
Not
She's
too
gonna
bad.
be living through purgatory for 3 days.
Good experience for her.
There you go. I'll clip this short out and send it to her. The man with 2 pistols, the man with 2 revolvers on his
Hey.
shirt said, "Don't worry about it." I'm your Huckleberry. That's the next book, not Huckleberry Finn, but Mark Twain biography. That's the next book on my list.
Yeah, but this is from a movie.
Clint Eastwood?
Famous
I don't know.
line. Famous
Not
line
gonna
in a
guess.
movie.
310 to Yuma.
No, Tombstone.
Ah, do you know where that was filmed?
In Arizona.
I know, but where?
Yeah,
You've
I would
been there.
assume in Tombstone.
No, but you've been
Huh?
there.
Yuma?
Nope.
Where?
You've been there.
Oh, Tucson?
Yep.
Yeah.
Tucson had the old West Tucson studios, and most of the westerns were filmed there. All right, I guess that's it. Any more regulatory loose ends? Or what were you saying about delegation? You never really finished your thought.
No, I did. Delegation
Oh.
of duties. Some sponsors do not want lingering on their document, right? Somebody's been on there for a year and hasn't done anything. They want them removed.
And same from the 1572.
Yep.
More of a liability standard, right?
I don't know what their rationale is, because not all sponsors are that way. Again, one of my annoyances with the industry, and I've said this in numerous times for over the 12 years we've been doing videos, but
12 years, Chris. More like 15, man.
no, I haven't been doing them for 15. I don't think that'd be 2010.
Okay. Well, you were in the background through that glass window. People could see
Sure.
you working.
Actually, it's been 13 years that I started doing videos with you. It was about 2012.
You had more hair back then. They could
Yeah,
see
thanks.
you behind the glass.
Thanks. So one of my biggest annoyances with the industry is there's no standards, right? It's just up to the sponsors.
Yeah, I know.
to make the
Brad
rules.
complains about that too. But you know what? I'm on the minority on this.
No, you like it.
I think that's where the arbitrage lies.
It may. Nonetheless, it's irritating.
Well, irritating, whatever. If it keeps you in business, then I'm not irritated.
I don't think it keeps you in business, but I think it would be.
I think if everything was standardized to the effect that you and Brad would want, there would be no need for small sites.
Well, I don't know if that's true either, but it certainly would simplify things to maybe there wouldn't be a need for as many sites.
Yeah, I don't like this. There is one thing I know, and I'm in the minority on that. I know there is one thing, and I don't disagree with your premise either. There is one thing that I know, and it's not in our SOPs, because again, I don't want to put shit in there that we're not going to do. I know the majority of sites don't do unless they're like mega big site networks. And even then, I almost guarantee no sites do this. When a staff member leaves your site, everybody knows, okay, their email is going to be deleted. Like I've done this already 6 times. Their email gets routed to me, so I catch all their new emails. I remove them from Creo. I remove them from Patient Ace. All the tools that we control, I remove them from. Right? Like on day 1, that's like just my own practice I do. I know sponsors would like that we notify them, not just DOA log when the monitor comes, notify them to remove them from EDC and all the 15 other portals they had access to. You're technically supposed to, because technically that person can still get in with their old email. Even though they don't have access to that email, they can still get into it until the password changes. You know how every 3 months, and maybe that's why it's every 3 months they do that. They don't want old people getting in. But technically, you're supposed to do that. I'm guilty of this too. We don't let the sponsor know, other than letting the CRA know this person's not here. That kind of gives them the responsibility, like, hey, do your thing on your end. We did ours on our end. But technically, you're supposed, sponsor would prefer, if you poll sponsors, they would prefer you do this. And I know no site does this. Almost no site. I know for a fact.
See, I would argue, I don't disagree with anything you're saying, but
yeah, and no one ever talked about that ever.
Oftentimes, when you're working with a CRO, you have no contacts with the sponsor.
Right.
And that's
but you're supposed to make a documented attempt.
Yeah, but how? You don't have an email. You don't have a project manager you can email.
Send
and
that
the
up to
CRA
the
is with the CRO.
admin@merck.com. That's where the CRAs come in. You know, they're the ones supposed to do that. And I know half of them don't do that. So that's a little inefficiency in our industry, but I don't think people are that concerned. But there are times, we haven't had any, but there are times where, like, I've heard anecdotally from other sites, well, this person still has access to EDC. They could go in there and delete everything. I've even heard some people tell me, I hated my last site so much. I was so tempted on my first day I wasn't working there to go in the EDC and just fuck everything up. Like, who's liable in that case? It's technically the site. You know, so you got to be careful if you leave on bad terms with someone. We never had that issue here. Like, none of our staff would do that. But if you actually think that's a risk, I would definitely document that. That's a liability on your end.
So what do you think here? It's just a hypothetical. By the way,
we're running late for Joey. Let me text him.
No, I just did.
5 minutes.
So hypothetical for you. Suppose you fire somebody and they threaten they're going to get even with you, right? So as you're mentioning, I guess one of the best ways for them to get even would be to go into the EDC and just delete all the data, right?
Yeah, or like write inappropriate things in the
just like all kinds of stuff that would
fuck my owners, my site owners suck. Right. They do this and that. The FDA should come here.
AE owner raped this patient, right?
Whoa. Okay, now you're going too far, man. I mean,
I'm just saying.
You just went like Quentin Tarantino with this movie.
What
I was going more Martin Scorsese with the drama, realistic drama. You're going Quentin Tarantino.
No, they're going to get even, right? Okay. They hate you. They want to ruin your life. So, would it be appropriate to contact the CRA and say, I need their password because I have to get them?
No, it would not.
I have to change it.
No. You can't do that. You're basically incriminating yourself. That what you should do is
what would be the immediate measure to get this like taken care of? I
want documented liability that it's not me anymore. So I would email my CRA.
But see, here's where I think you're missing. It doesn't matter because it's still going to fall back on you. You're still going to have to go back in and do all the corrections.
Of course, but at least it's documented that they know this person's hostile.
Sure.
And the owner is reaching out to try to be proactive.
I still think this is going to be a negative on the site.
Of course, it's a negative on the site, but at least you have
the only way not for it to be is to prevent this from happening. And I don't know what would be the.
But what you want to do is illegal. You don't want to do that.
That's not illegal if they give you the password.
No, it's illegal. If someone gives you your password, that's sharing passwords.
The sponsor gives you the password because this person's been removed.
Well, then they just violated Part 11. That's huge fines.
All right.
Nah, that nah, bad idea. That what I would do, I would call my CRA first. Listen, Amy, this person, she's like turned very hostile. I don't want her to get in there. Like we deleted all her stuff, but she can still technically get into all these portals. Can you remove her like right away? This is urgent. And then I would document that phone call with a more formal email.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
hey,
all
please,
great.
yeah,
All great. It's still going to look bad on your site, and it's still going to be a major headache for you if it plays out.
yeah. But at least you have the proper process in play. Like there's no way I would go, you know, commando like that. That's what is that? The vigilante mode,
See,
like a
this
Batman style,
to
doing
me,
evil for the good.
to me, this would be akin to the PI calling up to, I can't think of the term, but remove the blind.
No, it's not that bad, but
This would
it's
be
just you
akin
don't
to,
want to.
no, what I mean is it would be akin to that in terms of, hey, this person's been removed from delegation 1572. I need their password to the EDC so I can change it so they can't get in.
Well, you know what? If you actually, and I've never done this, but I just thought of it. If you took their email back, right, and all new emails come to you, you can do that without asking anyone. You just go to the EDC, forgot password, it emails you.
Oh, true.
Now you're in.
True.
So if you want to do your dirt that way,
yeah,
there you
but
go. I don't advise it. Chris might. I don't.
No, I would ask for approval.
Now, hell no, I'm not asking for approval. I'm going my initial route. And
Yes,
if I
yeah,
had, if I
I would
wanted, in
I
football,
would
they have
prefer to
like,
A, prevent the headache, B, the negative strike on your site, because I'm telling you, if all that stuff gets changed, it's going to look bad on your site regardless,
telling you,
even if you
man.
let them know.
In football terms, if you're in the quarterback and you see a defense you don't like, you call an audible or you just throw it out of bounds. That's
No,
that throwing out of bounds thing.
I would ask for permission. I wouldn't
Yeah,
do
no.
it. I'd ask for permission.
Nah, I would turn if I'm the quarterback, I'm turning my coach off. I got this, ignoring
Fair enough.
him. All right, guys.
Nothing bad can happen from asking for permission.
You would look like a fool. Like
See,
you better be on
disagree.
good term. You better be on very good term with your CRA because
I disagree.
you don't know your CRA and your CRA asked their project manager, this site owner wanted, here's the reason, but he wants her password. Oh, they would freak the fuck out, bro.
No, okay. You don't have
And
to.
if
You
it
made
goes
a
up
good
the
point.
chain
You
of the
don't have to ask for the password.
Right.
I want to change this person's password so they can't
And we
get
just
in.
gave Guru Nation the audible. That's your playbook.
Yeah, but
right?
I would
That's
ask.
an option.
Don't think I would just do it.
It's a wildcat raw. Like move your quarterback and spike it to the running back. Right? You can do that. We're just not giving advice here. Call Darshan and ask him what.
That's why I'm saying I'd ask for advice. I'm not trying to get in trouble.
Yeah, you guys.
Or I get someone else in trouble.
Stop listening and go call Darshan. It's only going to cost you like a Bitcoin or two. Like, subscribe, comment, share. We got to do another pod, guys. Bye-bye.